Right, is it okay? Sound like that, or is it?
Are you guys here? Okay, excellent.
Great.
It is still too much light. Okay.
But don't fall asleep, please. I do my best.
We'll have to be different now.
Yeah, probably this way is better. What?
Is this working better for the camera also?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. So we'll go on to the next talk. Well, I'm not going to talk too long. I'm going to let him do the talking. He's going to tell us about how to do things with QtCreator that we normally don't do.
Yes, hello. Yes, I'm into embedded development for quite some time, and I've been using QtCreator for quite a while for Linux development, which is quite nice and has quite nice for remote embedded Linux deployment, works quite good. And then we had some of these boards lying around. I got these at a fair, and it's pretty cheap. I think it's about 15 bucks, euros in this case, and it has an debugger chip which is connected directly, and you can start right on with this solution I'm going to present. So what I'm going to talk about is I'm using OpenOCD, QtCreator, Qbs and QbsProjectmanager, which are plugins to the QtCreator, and the BareMetal plugin, which is also a plugin to the QtCreator. And just to know how much in detail I have to go through this stuff. So who's used or knows OpenOCD? You guys, okay? And QtCreator, okay? Okay, and has anybody used QbsProjectmanager, BareMetal plugin? Great. Okay. So what's QtCreator about? I just do a little bit for all these who don't know QtCreator. Well, it's a multi-platform IDE, and that was a requirement I had for choosing a desktop and development environment. And key requirements were code completion, nice refactoring solution, and debugging working. And one thing which I personally really like is to have a full open source development stack for political and technical reasons. So I'm just going to talk about OpenOCD. It's a versatile hardware debugger. It has multiple backends, and I think it's called transports. And these backends, so you have, I think it's an ST-Link on this board, or there's for the J-Link, there are drivers, or drivers for, well, the Bus Pirate and really different stuff. If you happen to do some FPGA development, you probably have these Altera Bus Blaster lying around. There are also backends for this OpenOCD hardware. It's pretty slow, by the way, but it works. So you can get, if you have some hardware laying around, chances are pretty high, JTAG hardware, that you can do hardware debugging with OpenOCD. OpenOCD front end is in gdbserver, so that's the way the QtCreator is talking to it. The community is very friendly of it, and it's scriptable. So you normally have to do some board-specific stuff, like how am I doing the resets, the reset and stuff like that. And so you can script it, or you can script your own reset handlers if your hardware needs special handling. So you need to make sure that it's coming up clean. This can be done via Tickle scripting. And you can also use OpenOCD for in-system programming. But I'm not touching it any further, it's just for completeness. Yes, and well, this gdbserver is the backend for debugging, and the IDE is the QtCreator I'm talking about. And QtCreator internally has a nice modular design. It's based on plugins, and so it's easy to extend. It also has some other development stuff. Like Android development, which is pretty new, I think, and embedded Linux, and of course you can do desktop Qt development, what it's originally sort of for. And it has support for different build systems. So while I'm only focused on the GCC build environment, or it also has support for other compilers for different platforms. But, I just switched compilers and build systems, sorry. It also has support for different build systems, like QBmake, Qbs, CMake, Make. I don't know. That's probably about it. And it has backends for different debuggers. And it has a nice abstraction of devices, so you can configure your own devices, which I'm also using, which is presented later on. And all this stuff up here is combined via kits, so you can just have different cross-compilers configured in your QtCreator. So if you have different hardware boards lying around, and one is, for example, an ARM V7A, the other one is in PowerPC, you can just have different tool chains configured as in one kit, and so you can easily switch and compile for different kits. It's quite nice. Yeah. So if you have any questions, just pop up. Normally in the end, the question gets easily lost. So if you have if anything is unclear, just ask. Okay. One of the build systems QtCreator supports is the Qt build system. Is it right? Is it Qt's build system? I guess. Was not sure about the Qt part. It's a JavaScript-based build system, and it's using the QML runtime environment. And it's quite neat because this JavaScript can be parsed, well, quite easily because it's JavaScript, and it's mainly a JSON description, kind of JSON description, and of your stuff. I'm going to show it later on in the live presentation. It's pretty compact, so I've done different, I've built different projects, and well, you need about one screen of text to describe your build normally, which is quite neat for an embedded cross build. You normally need much more. So, for example, CMake, I think it's quite double of the size for describing the same stuff. Yeah, it has lots of intelligence kind of built into it. So it just knows by the file ending what to do and does it automatically, and you don't have to care much about it. And it's integrated into the QtCreator via the QbsProjectmanager. This stuff is, I would say, pretty new. I think it's a 3.0 release, which is the newest release, where this was, I think, the first time it was released. Yeah, and it's still marked as experimental, so you have to explicitly activate it, but I'm showing it later on. And yeah, one thing what was missing to QtCreator was the bare metal stuff. So it has had nearly everything in place. So the compiler support, debugger support, nice code completion, and well, but one thing that was missing was that it was not able to directly talk to the GDB server, to a hardware GDB server, which has some subtle differences in the way it has to be talked to. And that's why I wrote the BareMetal plugin for QtCreator. It essentially, if you enable the BareMetal plugin, you have two things you see. For one thing is you get a BareMetal device. That's where you define your hardware debugger, and you get a BareMetal kit. That's the associated kit where you can just define your compiler and stuff like that, as it's normally defined in QtCreator. BareMetal itself is pretty basic right now, so mainly you can just select the network port and the IP address where the GDB server is listening, so you don't have to have it on the same host. You can just have it over network anywhere running. And it has a window where you can type in your GDB commands, which is pretty basic but very versatile, because you can, well, every hardware debugger I used, beside OpenOCD, which are commercial ones, is also able to be used with this BareMetal plugin. Yeah. Okay. And now I'm going to switch to the live presentation. Where is it? Oops. So I'm going to start. So I'm just going to show you the settings. So for example, down here you have a BareMetal device configured, probably BareMetal device. It's an ST-Link v2, and down here you can configure the port for the where the debugger is running. Currently, hopefully, I have the a debugger running, which is also not started automatically. So you have to make sure, if you're using it, that the debugger is running somewhere. But normally, you just have to start it once your hardware is connected, and then you can just use it. So down here are the commands for OpenOCD. Typical commands to get the program loaded is to reset the device, load up the binary into the hardware, and just do a reset again to make sure that well, it's in a proper state after loading. Normally it's not needed, but well, and then that's all you need for getting the device programmed and up and running on this side. And then you have these kits. For example, I have a BareMetal device over here, and here I'm using, oh, it's not updated. Yes, I'm using a BareMetal device. I'm just saying, okay, it's the ST-Link debugger, which is placed on here, and I'm talking to over OpenOCD. I'm using an ARM compiler. Oops, that's the wrong one. And I don't need any Qt in this case, which would a little bit too large for these kinds of devices. Okay, and you can configure the compilers like this. I think it's pretty straightforward, and the debuggers are also defined straightforward. And okay, and this should be it. And then you can load a project. And where is it? Oops, wrong. So, right here. Is it visible? Yeah, nearly. So this is Qub's build system description. So it, I had to add to some support for assembly to the Qub's build system. So as it has, the main focus was building for desktop stuff, the support for building assembly files was not in Qubs, so I added it to the Qubs system, and that's one thing that's making me some problems right now, but you'll see later. Yeah, and over here, well, you just say, give it the compiler flags, the linker flags, you include paths. I don't know if the dot is really needed right now, but well, it's there. And then you can use wildcards, for example, for your files, which is quite neat. So you don't have to enter all these files by hand. You can just say, okay, I'm having all the .c files in this directory and want to have them included in my project. And then you see it over there. And you can also define some variables. For example, if you have an external path, you can just define JavaScript variables and use them to construct your paths. If you have some complicated paths, it makes it much easier to handle this stuff. So I think I'm currently working on a different project. It's a little bit more complicated than this simple one, and that's an FreeRTOS based project, which is, and over here you see the Qubs file is not much larger than that. It's just pulling in some more includes, but due to the wildcards which can be used, it's still quite compact for the files which are pulled in. Using wildcards is kind of a double-edged sword in this kind, because if you're using wildcards, QtCreator can't manage these files by itself. So you just have to make sure that the wildcards are correct and the paths are correct. If you're not using wildcards, QtCreator can add this stuff into the files list for you and manage these files, but I don't think it's doing it if there are wildcards in there. So, yeah. But I think it's easy enough so that you can just describe your build pretty easily and get something up and running quite quick. Okay, and well, the FreeRTOS, I'd like to have it running, but unfortunately I didn't had enough time to get it up and running. And so I'm going to use the test project over here. To start debugging, I can switch on the debugger. Oh, okay, it's switched on. I'm just going to see if I'm having the hardware debugger running. Oh no, it's not running. So I have to start OpenOCD in the background. Oops. So, well. Okay, now he's up and running. He doesn't like to be hibernated or something like that. So it's compiling. Oh, I guess I forgot to set a breakpoint. So I would like to have a more complicated project up and running, but well, I went out of time, and I don't have this up and running. So you see, okay, you have your variables, you can set breakpoints, and well, if you're used to QtCreator, you can just press the normal buttons after you configured it, and you're ready to go. And you have all this nice stuff QtCreator gives you, like code completion, code model stuff, which there has been a talk today from, you probably have seen it. Yes. Okay. Are there any questions? Something you want to see before I stop the live presentation and switch back to, yeah?
So is it possible to extend the set of register in the window? But specific register, for example, for peripherals or something like that, is it possible?
So the question is it possible to have a peripheral view, right?
Extend to a custom peripherals for the world, for example, SPI or UR peripherals in the register.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would be possible, and I also talked with the QtCreator guys it might be possible to implement it, but right now it's not. It's on the wish list, and you will see it later on. That's, I think, the largest thing missing from this solution for having a product which is comparable to commercial IDEs.
Exactly. For example, for the template fabric, I don't know the name of your peripherals, the address, and to map it on your window and to select it. So I want to see SPI 0, SPI 1.
Yes. So the comment was that it's would be quite neat to have a device view somewhere within the QtCreator. And yeah, but unfortunately it's not there. But it's on my wish list too. So yeah, we'll see what the future brings. I don't know. I can do no promises, but well, I'll get some time to work on this stuff. Probably there will be something happening. So you can in QtCreator you can just switch to assembly view, and then so I just switch off the debugger. So up here you see the debugger stuff. You normally don't want to see it. It's just for debugging the debugging session. And normally you don't want to do that, but well, and then you can step through the assembly. Memory map, I don't know. Well, one thing was stuff that you have in device maps.
The memory map is an output of the compiler.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You can create in Qbs. You can create a compiler setting where you just say create me a map, and then it creates a file, and you can just look at it. So well, you got it somehow.
I think it means like a memory view of your.
Well, that was the question before.
But, yeah, but not device specific, just a range, for example, address X and C.
Yes. Yes, you can look into memory via the debugger. So you can over here, for example, if you want to look at this stack stuff and so on. So that's the debug functionality which is already there from the QtCreator in this case. So there's. Oh. Okay. So if you have more questions, I'm sorry. I think I just got the timeout. So I just going to switch. How much time do I have left?
Well, take a few minutes.
Okay.
The next speaker should start soon.
Where's my? Hey? Ah. So, okay, future improvements, support for all build system QtCreator supports. So currently only QMake and Qbs is supported, and CMake and Make, I don't know, I haven't tested it, I haven't time to test it, but it would be nice to have it. To have a variable support in the command window, which is entered into the device view for the BareMetal. So you can, if you have some special commands where you need the binary, which some esoteric hardware debuggers need that, it would be nice to have. A fast restart button. So on some devices downloading is quite slow, so it would be nice to have a restart button. And one question was over here, and that's also something which would be nice to have, would be a memory device view by hardware description. Yeah, and other stuff you can do with QtCreator. Well, that's just something completely different. Okay, thanks for listening.